everyone, welcome back, or if this is your first time joining with me, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm art teacher Amy, and today we are going to draw a window with a curtain by the artist Henri Matisse. So Matisse is a famous artist from the early 1900s, and he loved color. He loved a lot of color, and in particular, a lot of his paintings had red, yellow, and blue in them, which, if you know from your color theory, red, yellow, and blue are called what? They're called primary colors. So you've got your primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. Okay, so primary colors, yellow, red, and blue. Secondary colors, orange, green, and purple. So these colors you mix to make these colors. So primary, secondary. So here's a little color theory lesson for you. Yeah, so he loved color. And in the early 1900s, this was a big deal. This was actually called Fauvism. I know it's a big word. Just something to know about art history. And here is another picture by him. Well, these are all obviously not the real ones, because the real ones are in museums somewhere, but this one is two ladies. This one's called Music, 1939, and he draws these big figures, big leaves behind the scenes, and a red, yellow, and blue, and then we've got some green leaves here. So yeah, a lot of color, and very big, a lot of big dresses. He loved interiors, he liked flowers, he liked scenes looking out of windows. Here's another one with a table and some fruit and some window. And we're gonna do one similar to that. Probably one of the most famous ones that he did is Goldfish. And this is actually my version of Goldfish in a Bowl, where he painted goldfish on a table with, again, a lot of leaves, a lot of color. All right, so this is the one we are doing today. So we have a window, we have a palm tree out the window, we have this very decorative curtain. Again, he likes big, bold shapes, and we have a table with some fruit on it. So this one today, I would say this one's good for watercolor. If you don't have watercolors, I would say colored pencils are good. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do a Matisse painting. So just so you know how to spell his name, it's M-A-T-I-S-S-E. And his first name was Henri. And can you guess where he might have been from with a name like Henri? Do you think he was from England, Spain, or France? If you guessed France, you're right, because Henri is actually the French spelling, or the French word, the French name for Henry. So, okay, we are going to let's draw our picture. So I'm going to draw this one over here. Go ahead and follow me step by step, and we will color. I'll do a little color. This is my sample of the watercolor one, the watercolor version. So again, if you want to take a look at that, just so you can see with your watercolors, you'll need some greens. You need the kind of light green, dark green. Seems like we need that in almost all of our pictures lately. Reds, I would go really easy with the black, whichever black you choose to use, because it's very strong. We need some yellow, again, red and green. All right, so here we go. Let's do the curtain. So the curtain is coming down on this side of our picture. So we just have two wavy lines coming down. We're going to start at the top and then curve down. That goes down the whole side. So to figure out how far you want to draw that in, if you were to cut your picture this way into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, this would be in the 4th section. So actually there is math and art, because you can do, we use fractions to either cut a picture in half or thirds. So you don't have to be afraid of fractions. Okay, so now, let's see, on this curtain, we have another line. And we're gonna do a circle, half a circle here. Now make these big, because this is gonna take up, all these shapes are gonna take up the whole part of your curtain here. And then on this half circle, we have 3 rectangles, and one of them is going off the page. And then there's a circle in each of those. Now underneath there, we have 3, almost like these teardrop shapes, and I've simplified this drawing a little bit from the original. His shapes, he had a little more going on. So if you want to add maybe 1 more of these, he actually had about 5 of them. So I'm going to do another teardrop shape, and another one in the middle, and another one here. And at the bottom, he actually has these diamond shapes down here. I have them as triangles there. You can either do 4 triangles, or if you're good at diamonds, you can make 4 diamonds here. Now, for my younger kids that don't know how to make diamonds that well, the trick is to make, I'm just looking at the original there, see, make a V and then put an upside down V on top of it. And that's how you make a diamond. And if you want, you can actually have these touch if you want to have the top one touch the bottom one. And let's see, inside of the original, he's actually got circles in here. So you can do circles, you can leave them out, you can do triangles. And you know what, I'm gonna make this a little bigger. I'm gonna put another curve on that. And then above the half circle here, semicircle, we have some more of these teardrop things going on. There's 2 of those. Okay, so then we're going to move over to this section, and we have a really big window here, and we have a table with the fruit on it. So let's go ahead and put in this big rectangle, which is going to go about 1/3 of the way up. Just leave room for your fruit. Okay, and now why don't you go ahead and do that again. Okay, and we're going to put a straight line through it, and another straight line. And then these palm leaves come out of the window, and there's about 3 over here. You could do 2 or 3 over here. So we're going to start from the center here, and we're going to curve this way. And you're going to do that again. And actually what we'll do is, let's do that in all of them, and then I'll show you how to add the palm leaves so they look like they're curving. So we have one here, and another one here. And we'll do another one there. And now here, and here. So you're making these curving lines coming out. I'm gonna have 2 out of that one. Okay, so real quick, on your palm leaves, what you want to do is, instead of making straight lines, that's gonna look flat. I know I'm talking about in my other lessons how to not make things look flat, make them look more realistic. So we want to curve our palm frond, it's called, and then you want to curve the leaves coming off of it. Okay, so do you see the difference here? So one is going to look more realistic than the other, and we want to curve these because it's a tree, and if you've seen a real palm tree, you know they have those big fronds that curve. So you're going to make curving lines off of both sides of your stems here. Okay, now what do you do if they start to touch each other? That's okay, because they can overlap a bit when we fill in the paint. It's okay if some of them start to look kind of straight, because it depends. Sometimes it depends on which way I'm drawing my lines. Okay, here we go. And this one I obviously did a much thicker marker, so that's a very bold line over there. Let me get a little bolder here. Okay, so next thing is your fruit bowl, and then we'll build the table around it. So what we want to do, we want to make the fruit bowl pretty big. You want it to be pretty large down here because we've got this big window, this big curtain, and now the table. Okay, so back to a quick lesson here on how to make the fruit look realistic. So we know a bowl is round, and we know if we put fruit in it, it could look like that. But what we want to do is, again, number one, number two, so our bowl, when it's sitting on a table, is actually like this, right? And what you want to do is you're going to curve the top of your bowl, and then your fruit is going to actually be sitting in the bowl. You know how you have a fruit, maybe you have a fruit bowl at home and it's sitting on the table and you see the fruit. So this one, and then don't get too crazy piling all your fruit. Maybe 3 or 4 pieces is good. And then we're gonna jump over the fruit to make the back of the bowl. So this one, it looks flat. And this one looks rounded, right? Like you could reach in and take a piece of fruit. That's what we want. This is, again, this is like pizza with pepperoni on it. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, over here, we want to make a really pretty big bowl. So let's make a big curve. Now again, leave some space between your window and your bowl. And then you're going to curve for the top of the bowl. And our fruit is actually pretty big too. So we have oranges or lemons in here or something. The original looks like, I can't tell if they are oranges or lemons, but we have one here. Then you can put, your second one can touch the first one. And then we can have another one sitting here. And maybe one more on top of those. And now we're gonna do the back of the bowl where we're gonna jump over the fruit. So we're gonna start here on the corner, go to your fruit, jump over, and you should have a line that goes, if you were doing that in pencil, it's like if you drew that straight through, you would erase where it touched the fruit. Okay, so the table comes out of the curtain, And the line here now, here's another trick. We want this table to look like it's going into the distance. So this line here needs to be slanted. So otherwise, if we make it straight, the table's gonna look like it's flat up like this. We wanna look like it's going in. So we're gonna start over here by the curtain, come to your bowl, jump over your bowl, and stop right about there. And now we wanna make a slanted line here, and we're gonna go back to the curtain. And then we can actually do a straight line down right here for the front of the table. Oh, you know what? I guess in this one it's a little different. That's okay. Okay, so and then on the table we can have another piece of fruit here. And again, try to draw your fruit bigger than you normally would. Okay, so basically that's our picture. So we've got the curtain, the window. You know what? This window almost looks like it could use another palm leaf in here. Okay, and then sign your name, small in the corner. And let's take a look one more time at the original. Again, this is just my copy of it, but and I'm not sure what museum this is in. But Matisse actually painted for a really long time. He painted for 60 years of his life, which is really quite a long time. From about the time he was 20 until in his 80s. And I have a picture of him painting. So this one, so if we look closely at the colors here of our palm leaves, we're gonna need he actually made each like branch, if you want to call it, yellow, and then the actual leaves coming off are dark green, light green. And then we have the bowl he made white, and then we've got almost like a dark orange for the fruit. But that's up to you. You can make that orange or yellow and orange or whatever you feel like. Then we've got these red and green shapes on the curtain. And like I was saying, I think watercolor would look really nice for this. This one I did in watercolor, or like I was saying before, if you don't have that, you could do the colored pencils, and you will need red, orange, yellow, green, maybe some blue. And let's go ahead and we'll color. Oh, I wanted to show you one more thing, which is, this is actually a picture of Matisse when he was older. He had surgery, and he had to stay in a wheelchair for a while, and he couldn't really paint anymore, so he started to do these really large cutouts from paper, and so that's Matisse. And this is one of his, this is a copy of one of his cutouts that he did, which those are pretty fun too. He did a lot of paintings, a lot of work. So, okay, so we need our watercolors and our brush and our cup. And I'm gonna do just a little bit of color on here, and then you can continue. Because obviously, as you've heard me say before in the other lessons, this is newsprint paper and it's not thick enough to hold watercolor. But hopefully you have either the pad of Canson watercolor paper, that one that I love, or some kind of drawing paper. If you just have regular drawing paper, I would probably do this in colored pencils. All right, so we need some light green for those leaves back there. So remember, when you're gonna make your light green, start with your yellow and put that in the lid. And we're gonna add a little green to that. And then what you're gonna do with your brush is, this is not gonna show up very well. hold on 1 second. Let me get a piece of paper that I'll demo the watercolor on. Okay, so I'm back, and another good thing to have if you're painting, keep some paper towels nearby. Okay, so here we go. We've got the yellow first. Swirl your brush, get it wet, and then take your green, and we're gonna have that light green. So just say this is our palm leaf here, palm frond, and you could do some yellow on that one. And we've got two going that way. Do a couple of these. Okay, and then what you could do is put we're gonna need our light green leaves. So those, just follow your lines. And as you paint, you will start to get what looks like palm leaves. So like I was saying, he did a dark green and a light green. So we could kind of add a little dark green in here. And mine's still wet, so it's really dripping. But if you want to wait for it to dry just a little bit, you can get both colors in there a little better. Now there's another color you can make that looks nice too with this, which is actually some blue green. So if you want to take your green and mix it with a little blue, you'll get a nice blue green here, and that you could also put in here. Let's see. The trick is to let it dry a little bit more so that you can layer your colors. So let's see if this one is dry enough yet. I'll try to do a little light green on here. You're just making lines off of your palm leaf. And then let's do regular green. And then with the regular green, you're trying to go in between the light green, and that's going to give you that look that we want, where you have more than one color. I'm going to try some of this blue green over here. And then what I would do is I would let that dry. So let your palm leaves dry before you go in and try to do the blue in the sky here. Otherwise the whole thing is just going to turn to a mushy mess and you won't be able to see anything. So then the other thing we have is we've got the red. These are red. You could do those red. And maybe a few of them. Let's see, we've got red one, green one, and the red one. And by the way, if you don't have a good brush, I definitely recommend picking up one nice brush. I got a set on Amazon of about like 5 of these, and they were really cheap. But get yourself a brush that has a nice square tip to it, and you can draw lines with it. If all you have is a round brush, that's okay. And let's see, we have the green one. Okay. And then inside of those, well, if you want to keep anything white, that's gonna be a problem because usually watercolor does not come in white. I've seen it rarely. So if you do have oil pastels, if you have a set of oil pastels, you can actually take out the white and then whatever I want to stay white, I just use the white pastel. So maybe the inside of these are white. And if your bowl is white. Now, if you don't have white, the trick will be to just try to keep your paper, try to keep your watercolor from getting on the white parts that you want to keep. And there is another artist medium that you can actually like paint on, almost like glue, but a lot of us don't have that. Okay, so then maybe your fruit, get some orange fruit here. Actually, maybe a little orange and a little yellow. This one will be yellow. Okay, and then your table, and you can make up your own colors. This is just a suggestion based on the original. So the table he has here is red. And the last thing I'll do, and then I'll let you finish, is the black. So if you have, let me just finish this table here. So it'll look nice when it's done, even though it's on newsprint and it's not the best paper, but that's okay. So again, you always want to, I would say, rinse your brush, wipe it, get more color. So with watercolor, remember you want water and paint and water and paint. You don't want it to be thick or gloppy at all. So one thing, if I took out the black out of my set, because it's in this particular set, it's really dark, the prang. But what you can do is, if you do have this set at home, there's a way to mix a gray for the background. Or if you're using this one, the Crayola washable watercolors, this one has, this black is fine. One-handed here. This black is fine for your background. So that one's not too dark. So if you have this set, which some of you do, because if you've taken classes with me, this is the one you have at home, the prang. This set will actually make, let me just wipe that out. This set will make a really nice gray. Let me clean my lid so we can make it here. Okay, so what you want to do is you're going to take some blue, and you can try this with your watercolors. Usually it needs to be the dark blue, which is called ultramarine, and not that turquoisey blue, which is called cerulean, because it won't make it with the light blue cerulean. So blue and brown, and you're going to get this nice dark gray color. So you can actually do that on the curtain here. Let me see. Yeah. And then don't forget, so keep going. These can be any cut, like orange. Looks like he's got orange and yellow, some red around these. This is, you can make this kind of a white with black in it. have fun with the rest of the colors, because really you could do, kind of make up your own color scheme. You could do warm colors on these, like oranges and yellows. We could stick with the red and green, which are actually called complementary colors. So any two colors across from each other on the color wheel are complementary, so that would be red and green, orange and blue, and yellow and purple. So if you think of the circle, the color wheel circle. So if you want to try with any of those two colors together, so orange and blue, or yellow and purple, you could do that. So, all right, so go ahead and finish painting, and so you saw how to do the palm leaf. So then you can just decide what color your wall is, and then the last thing I would do is paint the blue sky last, and this would be in here, around your palm leaves, and just go carefully around your leaves, make sure they're dry already. And you can paint in there. Oh, and then don't forget, you can also paint this. You could make this like the front of the table. That could be maybe orange, or we could do the red and green thing again. The original looks like it has almost like a light orange here. So, all right, thank you for joining me, and hope you enjoyed this lesson. Please click the like, share, and subscribe buttons, and don't forget to hit the little bell to get notifications of when I post another lesson. Have fun.